everybody on the square. Andrew Marston here again with another episode of the Community Spotlight, where we get to know a School of Motion alumni a little bit better. And today we have the privilege to be joined by Olamide Rowland, aka Raj the Goat. I almost called you Raj right there, but Olamide, thank you so much for taking time.
Thank you very much for having me. Like this was like one of the most last minute things I've done in my life. It was like, oh yeah, are you ready to do this? I'm like, yes, let's do this.
Yeah, it was about 90
I
minutes ago. I think I messaged you and said, "Do you want to record an interview?" And here we are.
yeah, thank you very much for having me. I'm excited to dive in with you.
Oh yeah, I've been watching your videos for a while. Especially, I think I first heard about you from your School of Motion tutorial on the getting over creative block, which leads me into the question I usually forget. But where can people find you online?
You can find me on Instagram at Rowland Olamide, and you can also find me on Instagram as well at ROJ the Goat. I'm kind of like deciding what to do with both accounts because they feel like this they could one could go like I'm thinking of deleting one, but for now you can find me on both accounts.
Sure.
And you can find me at Twitter, which is where I'm most active, at Rolando Lamide, and on YouTube at Rog the Goat. And I'm also starting a Discord community called the Goat Cave, so you can find me there as well.
That's the perfect name, the Goat Cave. So I guess let's just start at the beginning. Um, who are you? What do you do? And kind of how did you get there? It would be a great place to start.
Okay, who am I? I'm Olamide Rowland. I'm kind of going through an identity crisis, whether to call myself Rush the Goat or address myself as Olamide Rowland. But anyone you call me is totally fine. I am a 3D motion designer from Nigeria. I'm based in Lagos and Ogun State in Nigeria. They're like two states close together, and I have the opportunity to alternate between both of them. Um, that's where I am. That's where I am and where I'm from.
Yep.
And how did I get here? How did I become a 3D motion designer? I would say it started maybe 6 years ago when I just stumbled on graphic design. I actually didn't stumble on graphic design. I stumbled on like illustration. So I started as an illustrator. What I was doing was just taking people's pictures and making portraits of them, like cartoon portraits of them, and that led me into this path of learning graphic design. And in 2017, I got bored of graphic design because graphic design is graphic design. I feel like there could be more to this than just graphic design. And in 2018, I made this decision to stop doing graphic design and just focused on my energy on becoming a motion designer. And here I am. Last year was a defining year for me because I started a YouTube channel and it didn't blow up, but it got me to this level where I'm like connected to everyone in the industry. Like, just name the most popular person in your mind now. I either know them or like I have someone who knows them or I have someone who knows them. So it's like this really tightly connected web of knowing almost everybody in the MoGraph community.
Even if like your subscriber number isn't as high as like the School of Motion YouTube channel, you're reaching that niche audience of people in the industry, so everybody's heard of you. And I mean, I just saw that you just did an interview with Ben Marriott. At the time of this recording, you're about to do a chat with Joey Corenman himself. However, I'd like to hit pause on this point and go even further back. So you grew up in Nigeria?
Yes, I was born in Nigeria. I was born in Ogun State, Nigeria, and I grew up in Ogun State, Nigeria. I'm currently just like leaving the bounds of my mom and just trying my best to move out as much as I can and just find be my own person.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was born in Nigeria, grew up in Ogun State, Nigeria. I'm
And
not
so
originally from Ogun State, Nigeria though. I'm from like the middle part of Nigeria. It's a state called Kogi State. It's around like central Nigeria. And fun fact, Matthias from Maxon, the community manager at Maxon, both of us are from the same town in Kogi State. So it's like the most mind blowing thing in the world. It's crazy.
that's an awesome connection. And so how did you get into art? Did you always just like art?
Not to brag, but I've been drawing since I was 3. So like, I've always been into art, and I've always like been into like artistic expression. So it's not something that I just randomly stumbled on. Like a few years ago, it's always been something I've been passionate about in a way, and this is just one way I'm able to express it. But
Yeah.
then I'm kind of like more of like a design nerd than an art nerd. I feel like this year is the only year where I really became an art nerd.
How did you go from I like to draw to uh, industry professional?
Okay, I think the first thing I would say is I don't consider myself professional yet.
Oh, well, okay. Looking at your
Yeah.
work, it's yeah, it's definitely industry professional level.
I feel like I'm still there. I'm still getting there, but like I'm better than like a beginner in a way. But like I'm not there. Like I look at some people's work. Example is Somi, or like even just the stuff that Tendril Man versus Machine does. Keeping in mind that they have like teams of like 30 people and they're like beasts. And I just feel like there's so much I still don't know. And they're the only people that genuinely make me feel like I don't know anything. But yeah, to answer the question, how did I like get from like just someone just passionate about drawing to like becoming this person who is almost an industry professional is YouTube videos. Like I started out, I think this is the only year I can't call myself self-taught anymore. I used to be like bragging about being self-taught, but I'm no longer self-taught. Sorry, I'm from offshore. But like I started learning by like coming up with curriculums for like what I want to learn, and finding YouTube tutorials on those things. And I'm grateful for the fact that I was because I'm still very young. When I was much younger, I had access to the internet when even people my age or people around me didn't. So it was easy for me to learn because I was having access to the internet. I was having access to information really quickly. So it was very easy to see where my faults lie, and it was very easy to develop good taste, because a lot of these things is like really good taste and like matching up to that good taste that you're trying to get to. So like that's how I learned, is like having internet early and just watching YouTube tutorials and watching a lot of channel, example like School of Motions channel and also Mograph Mentors channel. I learned so much from both channels, and they were like just help me fine tune my. For a while, I did not take. I didn't take it like School of Motion course until like this year. That's why I can't call myself self-taught anymore. But I learned by just stitching all information from multiple tutorials together and just using that to learn. That's how I've been able to learn so far.
Absolutely. You seem pretty well connected. Like it seems like everybody at least has heard of you or knows you. How did that happen? You go from drawing and YouTube tutorials to, doing live streams with Joey Corenman and Ben Marriott and showing up on the School of Motion YouTube channel and all over Instagram. I mean, you're everywhere.
I'm
Like,
almost everywhere. Not yet. Not yet everywhere. Okay. To answer the question, how did I think the question is probably how did I build the network? It's Can I be religious a little bit? I would
mhm.
say it's God, because I don't think I would get this network with just myself, because it's just like preparation meets good timing. And I feel like
Providential.
God has yeah, I feel like God is someone who sets up those things, and the fact that you're prepared means you're able to just take advantage of those situations. So yeah, I feel like I would say one thing that has given me an advantage apart from all that is like my people skills. Before I said that, I'd have to say that like, I'm very introverted at the moment. I'm like I find it really difficult to deal with people. But then my people skills, my ability to communicate with someone or just reach out to someone, no matter how big they are, is probably the thing that is most appealing for me. I think my selling point is the fact that I can reach out to almost anyone. Uh, the jury's interview was just like the jury interview happened because I posted a tweet while I was watching a jury interview. It was like, hey, jury, I would love to stream with you. And then he responded, and here we are, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, not everybody just shows up on the internet with a interview with Joey Corman. Well, it's awesome, and I'm curious. So, what are some of your goals for the future?
Um, I'm kind of like living my life in a way where I don't have goals anymore. I used to have goals. I used to be like, oh, in the next 5 years, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that. But I'm kind of at this moment where, like, I don't know, goals are not working for me anymore. Again, let me be religious. There's a quote by Kanye that says, "We make plans and God laughs." So I'm like kind of living my life where I just let God decide everything for me. But at the same time, I don't have goals, but I have ideas. So I'm kind of like moving from idea to idea. So it's like I wake up or I'm doing something and an idea pops up in my head. I work on that idea and I move on to the next one after that, and I move on to the next one after that. I have like this whole like Milano board, and I call it the ideas graveyard because that's where ideas goes to either live or die.
How do you, because you just said you have Milanote. How do you use Milanote in your? This sounds like it's a big sponsored spot, but Milanote is not
Yeah.
affiliated with this at all. But how do you use Milanote in your day to day life, like as a creative?
This is my Milano board, and this is where my life is. Like this is my entire work life. This is all my projects, yeah, all my random projects that I need to finish. And I'm mostly doing personal projects at the moment because I really I'm not working. I'm hoping to get back to work soon, but I'm not working on any client projects at the moment. So it's mostly personal projects that I've been working on.
If anybody out there needs a great 3D animator, sounds like Raj the Goat is available. Just throwing it out there
I
for you,
am
Raj.
available. Like I'm available for the rest of like the year
Yeah,
till next year when I'm like going to be busy again. But like I'm available this December in case anyone wants to hire me. I'm
absolutely.
also broke, so yeah.
So everybody get on it.
Yes, please. Okay, so like I just basically put all my ideas like yeah, and I just like collect things from the internet randomly and just throw it on here. Milanote is just where my life is. It's like where all my files are, where I organize myself. This is like things that I hope to watch in the future, just things I watched and I was so inspired by them and I just want to keep it for later. And this is like my ideas graveyard.
I
You're
love this.
practically seeing all my ideas for the next like next year. Everything I'm going to be doing next year is yeah, like every personal project I'm going to be working on next year is yeah. Like I have this idea of creating a book. Okay, so I'm kind of like very selfish in the sense that
Oh wait.
like whenever like people are onto something, I get really tired of that thing. And my friend called me an hipster for this, but like it's like when everyone is doing NFTs or doing this, it just makes it less interesting for me. Art books is one thing that no one is doing, so I want to write an art book. It's going to be a place where you see my artistic vision in one book. I hope I finish it now that I've announced it to like the rest of the world.
This is crazy. You are so organized.
Actually, it's not that organized. It's actually really scattered. Like when you check the archives board, these are boards that I don't know what to do with. I just throw them here to look organized.
It's impressive. And I love seeing that you have a system. It seems like, based on what I know of you, it seems like you're pretty good at making systems to keep yourself organized.
You know, I was just talking to my friend about that like a few hours ago, where I was talking about getting a personal assistant because I'm far from organized. Okay, maybe visually, like I can be very organized, but my brain is so scattered. Like my brain is far from organized. It's more like I'm constantly forcing myself to focus, and I'm kind of like a Gen Z person in the fact that like I've lived all my life on social media, so like my brain is fried. It's crazy. I'm visually very organized. Like I try to keep my space organized, but like my brain is not, and I need someone to organize my brain. So
Well,
I'm putting out there. I need a personal assistant.
but you seem like at least you have processes for things. Like if you want to remember something, then you put it on Milanote. And I mean, your school motion video was all about a system that you can repeat to deal with creative block. Do you mind if we actually touch on your creative block process for a little bit?
Sure, like go ahead.
I would love to, in case people haven't seen the video, could you outline essentially how you deal with creative block?
I feel like the main part of that video is the fact that to have a create to like go through creative block, it's kind of like you're on this journey, like you're trying to get to somewhere, and to get to that place, you can't just go on a journey without knowing where you want to go. Like you can't just say, "Oh, I want to travel to America." So you can't just say, "I want to travel," and not know where you're trying to go. So it's basically you like defining where you're trying to go and figuring out the best way to get there. So for me, like defining where I want to go is like basically clarifying what the client wants, or clarifying what my since I'm doing mostly personal project, clarifying what I want to do for a project, like just writing it down. This is what I want to do as plainly as possible as I can, and just coming up with a plan to actually get there. So the plan could be for a motion design like project, could be like storyboarding, like it's something you can adapt to anything, adapt to your process. It's just clarifying what you want and coming up with a plan to get to that thing. That is how I handle creative blocks. And most of creative blocks just come from like you not being certain about what you want to do exactly. Like it's just like you're just how do I put it? It is like you're like let me think. It's like you're moving aimlessly. You're like not being sure of what you want to do, and you're just diving into your project head on, or maybe you dived into it and you're still not clear and you're not sure. So you're just moving aimlessly, like a random bee that has lost instead of a swarm of bees that have lost their queen. The queen is essentially giving them directions, and once they lose their queen, they're just moving around aimlessly. They can't even attack anyone, like trying to take the honey. So it's like that's what happens when you just lose your queen, and your queen is exactly your goals for that project essentially. That is
Uh,
my video in a nutshell. I feel like I said this I said this better than I did in the actual video.
I was like, this is a great analogy. The hive mind with a single focus. Well said. Usually, I like to, if possible, I'd love to look at one or two of your projects that you've done,
Yeah,
and just maybe you could talk about your process and how you created it. Would you begin for that?
I'm down for it. I have like one project I want to share. Actually, I
Oh,
have two
perfect.
projects.
Yeah.
One is ready and one is not. This project is called Jellyfield. This is like my best personal project in like this year. I feel like I could have done more, but then I just love the visuals. Like I did this project because I wanted to I was trying to like how will I put it? I was trying to play with jellyfish essentially. Like I saw a picture of a jellyfish, like a couple of pictures of jellyfishes, and I was like, yes, this is amazing. Let's grow with that. And this was coming up around the time where I was like really into NFTs, and my birthday was coming up. And every year on my birthday, I release a personal project of some sort or just a random video. So I was like, oh, this could be fun. I could do this for my birthday and launch an NFT collection. So well, a majority of this was just tying the jellyfish. The gag was a jellyfish. Was like tying this jellyfish into like a bigger concept, essentially. So it's like this is a jellyfish. What if jellyfishes are like advanced species and like there are no humans on this planet? What would that planet look like? And it was like this jellyfish have grown beyond where humans are, and they've grown beyond the jellyfishes we have in the real world today. And this is a planet where fishes rule, and it's like called Jellyfields. It's like this lake scene where jellyfish don't need to be in the water anymore. So you basically see this jellyfish popping out of the water, and it's like they don't need to be in the water anymore. They're advanced. They're smarter than us. They use the planet better than we ever could because we're ruining this planet. Like, and these guys would do it way better than we would because they don't need as many resources as we do. They're already advanced. And it was just like I spent 3 weeks on this. The first week was me trying to get this lake scene. I kind of like I can show you my initial renders. They were terrible, like really, really terrible. But like as as time went on, it was like much easier to get clearer about like where I wanted it to look like and what I wanted to like. It was more like that. It was more like what I was talking about with my creative process is like when you don't have a direction and you don't have a focus, it's going to be difficult for you to you're just going to be aimless bees without their queens, basically. And that was how the start of the project was like I was just the guy was just jellyfishes. And as I started the project, it was just more about me being more clear about what I wanted to do and what I wanted to achieve with it. So I'm trying to find the initial renders, only if I can find them. I hope I didn't delete them. I think I did. Oh yeah, I didn't. I didn't. This was the initial renders of the scenes, like the jellyfish scenes. I wanted like this. I wanted like this field because it says jellyfields. It was actually jelly, something around jellyfield, and I did all these renders initially,
That's
and it
beautiful.
was just like, yeah,
The
it
lighting is
wasn't to me at the
amazing.
time. Yeah, thank you. Uh, uh, and also, my computer could not handle this amount of graphs. My computer at the time, luckily, I spent all the money I have upgrading my, up getting a new laptop and a new monitor to go with it. But the computer I had at the time could not handle all this. So this was like the best thing I could do with the computer I had, and like this was like better for scene management. It was like, oh, why don't I just put this grass instead of making like a gigantic field with millions of grass? Why don't I just make it a lake and just a small section of that lake and just take advantage of the fact that it's a small section of the lake and have way less grass than I would if I had made it like this entire grass field. And it was just like being resourceful essentially. And this was just the initial renders. I was really frustrated with this renders because it wasn't just, they didn't give me like the jelly feels effect. It didn't feel like, oh, this is something I want to be. This is where like this is where an advanced species would be. It just felt like muddy and all. But then as soon as I like started clarifying, this was another scene I experimented with. This was like, okay, this the jellyfishes need a place to play around, and it's like this, and this, I think I experimented. There's like a twisted version of this, yeah, where like it's like a monolith and they all play around with around the scene, but I never really made it. It wasn't really like, it didn't really speak to me like this lake scene does. So this was just my initial explorations, and then this was just as it progressed. And this was one of the first animation tests that I did. Also, I can't take credit for the jellyfishes. I'm I used one of my friend's tutorials, Daniel Danielson, to get the jellyfish. And to get the jellyfish, he has like this really cool tutorial that shows you how to get jellyfishes procedurally in Cinema 4D.
And so this is the animatic.
Yeah, this is the animatic for the final one. This is technically very rushed. Like I finished this part. I finished this part in like 3 days. So it was like I couldn't really. I don't think I'm like in that place where I'm confident in the camera animations and all. I might be doing another version of Jellyfields just for the fun of it, not because there's any pressure to do it. Where I just like maybe show more sides, like maybe show more like more close-ups of the jellyfishes and all. But yeah,
Have
this is like
so
an animatic.
you mentioned NFTs earlier.
I have done NFTs and I've dropped two NFTs. One
Oh
sold,
right,
the
sorry, it's right
other
there.
has not. Yes, this is one. This is the other one that did not sell. I'm kind of like I have like a love-hate relationship with NFTs at the moment. This has sold. This has sold.
Yeah, that was beautiful. That was the one I was going to ask you to talk about.
Okay, so this is project. This was like I did this like 3 years ago initially. Like this is the initial render. This is the first version of it. I did this 3 years ago, and I was like a beginner at the time. Like I didn't really know much, but it was like it was really really cool. Like this was really really cool. I just
So
wanted to expand on it, and I just wanted to like have it like a more, what I why I redid it was I wanted to have like a more like, how would I put it, like a more like mature take on it. It's like, okay, I've matured, like my skill level has matured, so how can I take this further? And the idea was like nurturing an idea at that point in time. Like the title was nurturing an idea, so it's like you're in like this incubation chamber for ideas, and the baby is an idea. But now I kind of like iterated on it and like changed the title to nurturing greatness. So like it's, the baby is not just an idea, it's something great. Like, and it's being incubated in this futuristic incubation chamber. And I wanted to like again express more of my cinematography skills like when I expanded on it. So it's like instead of it just being like this 4 seconds video where the baby is just like the lights is just coming up, like you're seeing the baby light up. It's more or less like we're journeying through what is inside, and we're like experiencing it from not necessarily from the baby's point of view, but we're like closer to the baby than we were before. And we're seeing like this is actually going to be something great.
Is just so like the atmosphere and the mood and the environment that you like immediately bring us in. I was like, geez, this is incredible. But yeah,
Thank
what?
you.
So your what are your thoughts on NFTs?
I think NFTs are great. I think they're like an interesting development. My problem is with the community and like just the fact that I find it difficult to relate with most people on the community. I just feels like, oh, this shit is they've made people's like they've made art into this commodity of a things like, oh, this NFT sells and this doesn't sell, and you could do literally the best work in the world and nobody would think it has value, and it's just arbitrary. That's most of my problems with NFTs. And I've just like I feel like I've tried my best to make my best work at the time, and it was just painful when like people would say, "Oh shit, this is amazing! I'm definitely going to buy it when it drops," and then it drops, and then nobody actually has the chance to buy it, and you're like, "Oh well." It's really sad.
Yeah,
It feels very arbitrary. It feels based on hype, not really actual value.
yeah,
And that
that
is most of my problem with it, just the community. But the technology is amazing. I mean, we need to stop thinking an NFT as a tool to sell art. We need to think of it as a tool to sell anything. Imagine like funding a company with NFTs is like, oh, we're selling actual stocks. Like you're going to own a percentage of this company, and this is how we're going to fund this company. And we're like selling this thing as an NFT, and everyone can buy into this company, buy into this idea, and become board members of this startup through NFTs. Like that feels more innovative than just random people making shit art. Getting sales, and then people making the most amazing art. I don't think my art is the most amazing, by the way. Getting ignored. That's how I feel about NFTs.
yeah. No,
And I feel like we need to think about it beyond just art. It's like, how can we apply it to every other thing? Tech is
absolutely.
amazing.
It seems like we're at the very beginning of some new technological era with blockchain and
Yes.
NFTs. For sure, I could talk about that as well, but this isn't about me. Let me transition
Yeah.
us to the. I'd love to get into the end section where I like to ask about a low light and a highlight so far from your career. And the low light, it doesn't have to be some big tragic event. It can be if you want to share about that, but it could also just be maybe a mistake you made or a lesson that you learned the hard way or something like that. Is there anything that comes to mind as a low light that you'd like to share?
Okay, so this is something I want to get into more, which is like my mental health. It's like
Yeah.
I've been like I don't know, maybe it's social media or what it is, but like I haven't really been feeling the best the past few months. So it's something I'm figuring out, and I feel like it's probably like if you're in this generation, it feels like everyone wants to be like having mental health issues, or everyone has a mental issue or the other, and it's just like my mental health as a creator is kind of like derailing, and it's something I'm working on, and that is like the low light for me, and it's also an highlight because I'm working on it. I'm getting therapy. I'm like having conversations with my family about it. So it's amazing. And I
Yep.
feel like everyone in the motion community should know about mental health as a thing and be very watchful of it. I wish someone would make a content about mental health for motion designers because I can remember last year a client gave me an actual panic attack, and this is like my first time experiencing a panic attack in my life. I still haven't experienced a panic attack after that, but like it's amazing. Like it's not a bad feeling. It's not like the panic attack is a good thing. It's just like we need to pay more attention to like mental health in general.
Yeah. So what are some for anybody else out there dealing with mental health related things? Do you have any advice on what's been working for you?
I think what has been working on for me is just having conversations, like honestly, like talking about it with people. Like that is the best way to solve any issues you have or anything you don't understand. It's more or less like I don't think you're going to all your mental health issues going to be solved by talking to people, but it helps. it's not going to solve anything. It just helps.
Sure, sure. Um, well, you kind of mentioned that that was also a highlight of figuring out those issues. Are there any other highlights so far from your career that stand out that you'd like to mention?
Um, okay, I think a very big highlight is should I say the Ben Marriott stream was an highlight?
Yeah,
Like that is my
absolutely.
biggest stream this year. Like that's low key my biggest stream this year, and I didn't even have to do as much promotion for it as every other stream. Was like this stream just worked, and I would say it's like I would say it's the most valuable stream I've done. Most of my streams are just random conversations, but this stream felt like you can watch the whole like 1 hour 50 minutes and get value from it. Like you can watch it and you know, oh, this is what I can do to improve my next reel for the client. And I want to do more streams like that. Maybe not with Ben because I know he's a busy person. It took me like a whole year to get that.
And this is a perfect segue so people can find that stream on your YouTube channel, Raj the Goat. One more time,
Yes,
where else can people find you on the internet?
you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, the Square community. I'm now active. I wasn't active before. I'm now active. You can find me on Discord. I'm kind of like on a lot of Discord servers these days.
What are your favorite discords?
Uh, um, my favorite is my own Discord. Because like it's just like a perfect community for my mental health. When I'm on social media, I feel like I'm the worst person alive. Like I'm the worst person alive and I can't like create shit and I don't know anything. But when I'm on my own Discord, it's like a bunch of people like who are just committed to like being better at art. So it's like we're all together in this and we're like committed to being better at art. And we did like this 1 month challenge thing where we're just making low pressure art for like an entire month.
If people wanted to join this Discord community, probably the best way would be to DM you on Instagram.
I haven't like after most of my videos. I mean, the most recent videos. There's like always a link to the Discord there.
Hmm.
I don't do a good enough job telling people that I have a Discord. Maybe because I like the fact that the numbers are very small. But like
Yeah,
I don't do a good job promoting it. Maybe because I'm not ready to promote. But like this could be a good start for promoting it.
awesome. Cool. Well, I mean, that's all the we kind of got to the end of my outline, but and thank you so much for taking time to be here. But
Yeah.
so now that we've come to the end, is there anything else you'd like to say to the School of Motion alumni community? Maybe some advice or really anything at all?
Hire me. I'm sorry.
Perfect.
I,
Perfect.
like I'm the best 3D artist in the world right now. So I'm Ashtop and Beeple combined in one person.
Mm, mm. Yep. I can I
Yeah,
vouch for this for sure. He's the
yeah.
goat. That's why they call you Raj the goat. Thanks again for making time, Olamide,
Thank
and
you for having me.
yeah. All right, this is the awkward part where I don't know how to end it, so I'm just gonna hit
Yeah.
stop recording.